Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Salochana Sarapu from Ciber Global. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on Storage Made Simple for Hybrid Multi-Cloud. Before moving forward, I'm going to provide a few housekeeping notes. The session is scheduled to last 1 hour, including the Q&A session. We also will be recording the webinar so it can be available on demand for all attendees shortly. And since we are recording this session, all participants have been placed on mute to keep background noise to a minimum during our speaker's presentation. I also wanted to let you know that if you have any questions, please go ahead and send them throughout the session in the chat box to the right of the screen, and we will get to all of them at the end during the Q&A portion. At this point, I would like to introduce our speakers. Next slide. Thank you. Today we have Eric Herzog, the Vice President of Go-to-Market and Evangelism, as well as Vice President of Global Channels, IBM Storage Division. He has over 35 years of experience in product management, marketing, business development, alliances, sales, go-to-markets, and channels experience in storage software, storage systems, and storage solution markets in both Fortune 500 and startup storage companies. He was recently recognized as Marketer CMO of the Year and one of the top 100 hybrid cloud influencers, and also one of the top 100 AI and big data influencers. In addition to Eric, we have Manny Corral. Manny is the Director, Technology Solutions for Ciber Global. He has over 4 decades of technical, sales, marketing, and management experience in the IT industry. He's a strong technologist who works with his team to identify, qualify, design, and implement large, complex business and IT solutions, delivering on time with high client satisfaction. With that, I would like to hand it over to Manny to take over the presentation.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Before we start the presentation with Eric, I just wanted to give a brief overview as to what Ciber can provide you. I know many of you have worked with Ciber in the past, and some of you have not. And just wanted to give you what the breadth of our services entail. Ciber has been in business for over 46 years and was recently acquired back in 2017 by the HTC, which basically made our global reach a lot further than we had before. We have 12 plus delivery centers across the US, India, Malaysia, and also over 11,000 employees worldwide. We do have a global presence, North America, Europe, Middle East, India, and Asia Pacific, with many industry product partnerships and technology partnerships to help you with your issues. And of course, we follow all compliance and processes as we implement. Next slide, please. Just wanted to show you a quick slide as to where we are. We are headquartered out of Troy, Michigan, and we have sites across the US and of course on the global scale as well. Next slide. So what do we offer from a services standpoint, enterprise services? Going from left to right, data management. We have, of course, data quality and also analytics and visualization. That's one of the key pieces out there, and is becoming more and more critical, is data quality. As they say, garbage in, garbage out. So more companies are paying more attention to the data and what is needed to make sure that making right decisions. In the ERP CRM side, as you see there, those are the packages that we support. SAP and Oracle, we can not only implement, but also migrate. We can manage those applications for you. And if you need any additional modules, we can actually sell you additional modules. Business process services, contact center and help desk is second to none in the industry. Digital publishing, and of course, accounting and CS operations. In the enterprise content management space, we have process automation, digital asset management, case management, customer communication management, and Office 365 migrations. AI. AI is exploding. The companies out there are starting to adopt AI at a fairly rapid pace now. So we can help you with AI and robotic process automation, machine learning, data science and analytics, as well as chatbots. You can't find a website anymore who doesn't have a pop-up, "Can I help you?" window. That's a chatbot sitting out there. We can also provide face and speech, as well as object recognition, and of course, sentiment analysis, which is amazing now. You can figure out somebody's sentiment based on data. Managed infrastructure services. We have a world-class data center in Troy, Michigan, sorry. We can provide either a fully hosted environment, we can provide a hybrid environment, or we can go ahead and do a co-location where you provide the services for your infrastructure, but just want to get out of the data center management environment. We can also provide you a network operations center, whether it's hosted at our location or yours. Cybersecurity is becoming critical these days with a lot of very bad actors out there trying to get to your data. So cybersecurity as well as a security operations center that we can provide. And then with everyone working remotely now, because of the pandemic, identity and access management is becoming critical, as well as disaster recovery. Application management services, we can provide you application development and support, but also application modernization to bring your older applications up to today's standards, as well as cloud native development. If you're looking to move an application to the cloud, we can help you. Will that application run on the cloud? What is needed to have that happen? We can definitely help you with that, as well as the usual DevOps, and of course, use Agile development. Q&A and testing, we have streamlined Q&A to the point that it saves a lot of time from traditional Q&A. So if you need that service, we can also provide that to you. And of course, in the digital space, mobility and IoT applications, virtual reality and augmented reality, we have applications that are available that we can show at the Innovation Center at our Troy, Michigan location, digital experience, as well as MarTech. So that's probably, pretty much what we have at this point from services. I have one more slide at the end of the presentation to basically talk about the difference between us being Ciber and other consulting firms that are out there. So with that, Eric, please take it away.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to talk about how IBM, working with Ciber, can make storage simple for all. IBM Storage has been talking for several years now about how we make storage simple, how we reduce costs, how we reduce your CapEx, your OpEx, and even can deliver with our flash system family. You can see one pictured on this slide, a return on investment as rapid as 8 months. That is right, as rapid at 8 months from an investment, an 8-month payback period. So really gives you the right kind of solutions for what you need. But before we get started, let's talk first at a little bit of higher level. At IBM, we believe that it's all about the hybrid cloud. Some data on-prem, some data off-prem. And across the entire IBM storage portfolio, our flash system family, which we're going to talk about today, but our other solutions as well are completely hybrid cloud enabled, making your data movement seamless between on-prem and off-prem. Cloud is going dramatically, and it doesn't matter whether you're a global Fortune 1000, whether you're a mid-sized company or you're a small company, cloud is going to be part of your IT infrastructure and your IT model from here and beyond. Now, what we've done at IBM Storage is really focused on the digital transformation built around a hybrid cloud technology. There are three legs to this stool: making sure that your data is always resilient, not just available, but always protected, to help you recover from a malware, ransomware attacks, and what you can do from a data provenance perspective, of course, with all the regulations. So things like write once, read many technology allow you to be able to do things like pass an IRS audit or produce documentation for the SEC or other regulatory agencies. Application modernization is also key. Obviously, from agility perspective, workload portability, we support everything from bare metal environments. Some people still run those. Hard to believe, but they do. Hybrid cloud configurations, virtual support for VMware, for Hyper-V, KVM, and other virtualization layers, and of course, container-based solutions, leading, of course, with Red Hat OpenShift. IBM now owns Red Hat, but also if you would like to create your own, working with Ciber, with Kubernetes, and obviously containers are an open source model. If you'd like to do that, we can help you do that as well. And of course, we're always focused on cost and keeping your storage as affordable as possible. And last leg is the data ops and data services. This is where we function and where we focus on AI solutions. We not only provide that right foundation for your AI, big data, and analytic workloads, but we also incorporate AI and automation inside of our entire storage portfolio, so it's easier for you to manage. As you all know, back in 2008, there was a major recession, not as bad as this one, of course, but it was pretty major, and IT took a huge hit. And while IT headcount is back up and over that level, even despite the recent downturn, there aren't as many storage admins or server admins or network admins. They've brought back security people, which they need, DevOps people, test people. So the amount of storage that people are managing is anywhere from a low, and I mean a low, of 10 times what they were managing in 2008 to as much as close to 100 times, depending on the applications, workloads, and use cases. So IBM provides that enterprise storage framework that supports all these areas of hybrid cloud and your complete integration. Now we see this moving forward with containers. While we support bare metal, we support virtualized environments, we see with our bigger customers a move to containers. What IBM is going to do is make sure that we support any way you want to deploy. And for those of you that may be with a global Fortune 1000, you are probably going to deploy applications in all of those methodologies for the next several years. So I want to make sure that we support hybrid cloud technology. We support all clouds, not just IBM Cloud. We have products that are available with Azure, products that are available with AWS, with Google. So we also have, with our backup technology, our Spectrum Protect family, which we're not really going to talk about much today, but Spectrum Protect is a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for data protection and resilience. And that platform is in use by over 50 small and medium cloud providers as the engine for their backup as a service. So hybrid cloud is built into the DNA of the IBM storage division, and we've been doing it for well over 8 years now in multiple different fashions. Container is that next step. Container, as you know, is not only used on premise as you refactor your application base, but is also the core foundation for cloud providers, whether that be IBM Cloud, AWS, Microsoft, Google. All of them work very heavily with the container world, particularly with Red Hat, and we make sure that we support all that. So now let's get to our flash system family. That was a high level. Let's bring it down a level. One of the unique things about our flash system family, and we've refreshed our entry products in February. We refactored the entire family in February of 2020. So we brought out our flash system family, completely refactored across the portfolio in February 2020. And in February 2021, we did another refactoring and created new solutions with our entry products. But one of the key differentiators of this portfolio, it is one portfolio for all non-mainframe environments. Our competitors often provide 3, 4, and one of them even 8 different platforms, different user interfaces, different APIs, different RAID stacks, different enterprise data services across their portfolio because they're actually different families. For us, one family, the small, the medium, the large, and seamless integration with your hybrid cloud and container environments. We include our award-winning Spectrum virtualized software and storage insights, so we don't charge you extra. When you buy the solutions, you get the software with the solutions. And it's been very, very well received by the analyst community. One of the things we've been focusing on is our brand new flash system 5200. It's not only new software, not only faster, up to 20% less expensive than its predecessor, but we've actually provided full high-end enterprise capability into a one rack U package. So for those of you that have edge use cases, great solution. If you've got retail locations, if you're a grocery store chain and you've got a one U-high server and storage sitting in every grocery store, you can transact business no matter what happens to your core data center, ideal solution for that. It's great for core data center. If you're a large entity and you would like to consolidate storage and cut your CapEx and OpEx, the 5200 is ideal for that. And it's great for edge, cloud, and container workloads as well, as the analysts have noted. We mentioned already about our competitors. This is right off of our competitors' website just 2 weeks ago. These are non-mainframe solutions. So if you are talking to Dell EMC, and by the way, I used to be a senior VP at EMC for several years, they will provide you 8 possible different solutions for your non-mainframe environment, whether that be your Linux environment, your Windows Server environment, all with different user interfaces, all with different RAID stacks, all with different APIs and different software functionality. With IBM, one family for your entry, mid-range, and high-end, seamlessly out to the crowd for anything that is non-mainframe. And in fact, the press has noted how we're jumping ahead of our competition by giving a single family, which cuts your costs, cuts your training, cuts your operational manpower to manage by having a single family for your Windows environments, your Linux environments, and for those of you that still have Unix environments, all of those operating systems are supported with the flash system family. Now, we'd be remiss, obviously, since we've had a recession and are still seeing the impact of the downturn globally, of the economic impact of Spectrum Virtualized that comes on our flash system family. In the center, towards the bottom, you can see a link that goes to a third-party white paper, not written by IBM, by a third party. They interviewed customers in Europe and in North America. The results were astounding. A return on investment, top left, 359%. But most importantly, given the economic downturn, is the bottom left, payback of 8 months. Yes, you've got a budget, but if you're like IBM, anytime you want to spend it, you get a note from finance or the divisional CFO or one of our controllers. Are you really sure you need to spend that money? And obviously, while things are looking better from a COVID perspective, not always true. That's a United States statement. If you look at some other countries, I just saw an article yesterday in the newspaper about Italy. Their cases are going back up because of a new strain that came over from the UK. So let's hope everyone gets better and all the vaccines work well, but still the economic impact is still being felt all over the world. And having a storage solution for your hybrid cloud, container, and data center environments with a payback of 8 months is exactly what you need when you need to buy more storage for your applications and your workloads. Now, the 5200 is really unique in the entry space. It's a small footprint, but incredibly powerful. In that one rack U configuration you see on the left side of your screen can be up to 1.5 million IOPS in a single, and we can cluster to 6 million. 70 microseconds of latency, which you know is critical for your highly transactional workloads, your Oracle, your SAP, your Mongo, your Cassandra, and up to 1.7 petabytes in that little tiny box. It comes with our software. And because we allow you to make very small configurations with only 3 flash modules, we can give you fewer drives and you could grow one at a time. Many of our competitors don't let you grow one at a time. You may have to grow 8 at a time, 10 at a time, which by the way is a financial impact, of course. So this really helps lower your CapEx and OpEx. At 1.5 million IOPS in one rack U and 70 microseconds of latency, unmatched real-world application performance. You're going to see when we talk a little bit more about our software, enterprise class data services over and above any other enterprise offering. In fact, how many enterprise storage solutions do you know that offer 3-site replication? That's right, a very high-end feature. Not every company needs it, but clearly many in the global Fortune 1000, regardless of your industry, need things like 3-site replication. We're delivering it in an entry-level product. This 1U high form factor, again, great for edge, great for very crowded core data centers and for hybrid cloud deployments, and has all the high availability features you want. Replication, not only for disaster recovery and business continuity, but if you ever have a malware ransomware attack, having data replicated to your hybrid cloud is a great way to make sure that as you recover from that malware or ransomware, you can pull back data that has not been affected. High availability features, for example, 6 nines. Well, someone asked me the other day on one of these calls, what does 6 nines mean? Well, it means downtime in a full year, running 24 by 7 days a week, only 31.26 seconds of downtime. That's right, only 31.26 seconds of downtime in a full year. That is very high-end enterprise, yet on our entry products. The industry have noted this. We're providing capabilities into the enterprise market that will be hard for our competitors to beat. Now, we want to make sure that this small package is very, very well used. In fact, you can see some of our competitors in this picture. We, with only a 3-drive solution, 3 flash modules in the 5200, and remember, we can grow one at a time, so you can grow cost effectively. We can equal the performance or beat the performance and be less expensive than other solutions that are 4 rack U or 2 rack U, giving you the ability to start small and grow easily. We can scale up for capacity or scale out for performance and availability. Our consistent software runs, as you saw, not only on-prem, but seamlessly out to container and hybrid cloud environments. High availability we touched on, and in fact, we've got an option for 100% availability. That's right, we even have an option to deliver 100% availability on a system. And our Spectrum virtualized software works not only on IBM storage, but works our competitive storage as well. Now, one of the key things that's differentiated is our actual FlashCore modules. This gives us the incredible performance we were just talking about, again, with the Flash System 5200, up to 6 million IOPS, and on our highest end product, the Flash System 9200, up to 18 million. No other all-flash array comes close. The next closest is 15 million. And by the way, to get that 15 million from one of our competitors requires 80 rack U. We can get 18 million in only 8. Talk about savings on rack, on stack, on power and floor. And with our FlashCore modules, which adhere to the industry standard 2.5-inch form factor and come with NVMe, as you all know, NVMe is the new high performance technology interface between servers and storage used by both the server vendors and the storage vendors. We've been offering NVMe both inside of our storage systems, but also over fabrics for over 2.5 years now. And we make sure that we can do things like compress data, saving you money, or encrypt data, giving you better security with no performance impacts to your applications and workloads. Our flash system products do support other technology besides our FlashCore modules. We support industry standard SSDs, and we also support storage class memory as a storage tier. That said, 90% of everything we sold in 2020 was using our FlashCore modules. The performance is unmatched, as we talked about, but so is the reliability. IBM was the first vendor to offer a 7-year media warranty on flash 5 years ago. And in fact, in all the years we've been shipping FlashCore modules now, which has been 5, not a single module has ever come back for wearing out. That's right. Maybe there was a bad cable. Okay. Maybe the release, which you can see actually sticking out in the front, maybe that broke off. It's a piece of plastic. But as far as the flash ever wearing out, which would cause you data loss, that has never happened. And we're very smart about how we place the data. We can make very high capacity with QLC flash, which several of our competitors, by the way, say can't be made performant. Well, it's 6 million IOPS and 70 mics of latency. I would argue that they clearly don't know what they're talking about or don't have very good technology at these other companies. And of course, it's been noted as a best of breed offering in the all-flash market space. But it's not just about performance. It's also about reducing costs. You can see on the left a number of different storage arrays, not only ours, but our competitors. Remember, IBM's award-winning Spectrum virtualized software works not only on our arrays, but also works on over 500 different vendors. So for those of you that have heterogeneous storage, how about consolidation? We have the small yet mighty Flash System 5200. You set up a source, the older array is on the left, the target, the new Flash System 5200, which again, up to 1.7 petabytes in a single one rack U, and we can of course scale up to 32 petabytes, or you can scale out, giving you that 6 million IOPS with almost 7 petabytes. Consolidate that old storage. It's easy to do, it's non-disruptive, the migration is automated. Source, target, click, and we automatically migrate the data. No services required, no IBMers to come on site to do this for you. You can do it yourself, all built into our AI-based Spectrum virtualized software. You save on management, you save on rack space, you can save on floor space, on power, on cooling, and even if you've got a large data center and a lot of other storage that you can consolidate, you can save on network ports, both storage area network and standard Ethernet networks as well. Talk about saving CapEx and OpEx with IBM storage. Now, as I mentioned, when you need capacity, you can scale up, getting up to 32 petabytes of capacity, or if you're looking for performance and availability, 6 million IOPS, 84 gigs a second of bandwidth if you have an AI workload that you need to run, and 70 microseconds of latency. I should point out on the latency front, which is a key determinant of your highly transactional workloads, even though this is an entry product, at 70 mics of latency, the Flash System 5200 has better latency than every one of our competitors' most expensive high-end products. All of our competitors' highest end, most expensive products are 100 mics of latency. So 30% slower than IBM, except we're proving that in an entry product, not a high-end. And of course, to make it easy for you to management, all managed with our easy point-and-click based Spectrum virtualized software. Now, our software load is unmatched. The industry analysts have noted it in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for all flash arrays and now for primary storage arrays. We are constantly being mentioned as a pro. Why are we a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader? Because of our software, Spectrum Virtualized and Storage Insights. The software load does vary based on the power of the array. Our 5015 can run several functionality, including the migration, but also a very high-end feature, 3-site replication. Once you hit the 5200, the entire set of Spectrum virtualized software is there. At each level, the licensing is all inclusive. So when you get with your Ciber rep, we don't charge you extra. You get the transparent data migration on a 5015 or on a 7200 built right in when you buy the Flash System products. And analysts have noted that we're delivering items that are normally associated with high-end enterprise class functionality, data resilience, and performance. Yet we're doing that with a dramatic reduction in CapEx and very cost-efficient growth paths, giving you a way to grow cost-effectively. No, you don't have to add 24 flash modules like several of our competitors do when you want to upgrade capacity. You can add just one. Talk about the ultimate in flexibility and the ultimate in being able to effectively manage your storage systems budgets. As I mentioned, we don't care what workloads you're running. At IBM, we know that our larger customers and actually several of our sophisticated smaller customers often have workloads that are running in multiple different ways, whether that be a hybrid cloud config, a bare metal config, virtual configurations, or container-based. IBM Storage has been working with VMware since its founding, has tight integration with VMware as well as with Microsoft's Hyper-V. Of course, we've been working with, while we own Red Hat today, I should point out that IBM Storage has been working with Red Hat ever since the company was founded. I can even remember, although I wasn't at IBM at the time, going to one of the Red Hat summits at a dumpy little hotel in Boston, and IBM was there with the 10x10 booth. We not only support the Red Hat OpenShift container platform, but also the Red Hat Ansible automation platform, which allows you to make it easier to do things like high availability or configure array. And it allows you to let the DevOps or test people work with your array, but not mess it up. You all know stories of where the test guys or the software guys or the DevOps guys somehow got a hold of your storage array, and the next thing you knew, you were spending the next 2 days configuring because they didn't know what they were doing. With Red Hat Ansible automation, you can avoid that. For those of you that don't want to use Red Hat, we wish you would, of course, as IBM shareholders. But if you choose not to, if you go with an open sourced Kubernetes-based environment, we support that as well because of our support for the container storage interface, which is used across all container platforms. Now, we mentioned that we have only 31.26 seconds of downtime with our 6 nines of availability. But we want to make high availability even more affordable. We have our 100% availability HyperSwap software. You can get with Ciber, they can sell you a very cost-effective duplex configuration. This would allow you to have 2 systems in a duplex config. If there's a failure in the system, we can give you 100% availability. That's right, not just 6 nines, but 100% availability. And because you can create a very small flash system 5200 with only 3 drives, we give you that high availability very affordably. And in fact, on our current product, on the 7200, this is a real case study. This is a public reference available at IBM.com. They had the flash system with HyperSwap on the flash system 7200, which we still, of course, are selling. We brought it out last year. A truck knocked over the utility pole, so their fiber channel connectivity was down. Yet they had 100% availability to their secondary data center, no data loss, and almost instantaneous use by the whole company as it failed over from the primary data center to the secondary data center. We, of course, have made this easy to do with Red Hat Ansible and HyperSwap, or we can do remote replication. And we can do this not only with our own GUI, so in the Spectrum virtualized GUI, which you see pictured, but also with Red Hat Ansible. So if you need to have your DevOps guys do something or test, you know they won't mess up the storage. And even for those of you that are experienced storage admin, if you're using Red Hat Ansible, it's just faster and more convenient. So whether it be 2-site high availability or the ultra availability and data resilience of 3-site, IBM storage can deliver that even in an entry-based product. Now, we've talked a lot about the 5200 and what it does. You can start small and go big in a single 1U config. You can start as small as 37 terabytes and up to 1.7. It all comes with our software. It's a 1U high compact design, so core data center to consolidate, edge applications such as retail or banking at the edge, of course, hybrid cloud and container configuration, all embedded. Now, we had a previous product, the 5100, which we are end-of-lifing in favor of the 5200. The 5200 is 66% better performance in IOPS at 1.5 million, 40% better throughput. So if you've got a big data, analytic, or AI workload, it's ideal for that workload as well. And 100 mic or 70 mics of latency, 30% better than the 100 mics of high-end solutions, yet this is an entry storage package. And of course, the industry has really taken with this 5200. No one is offering a 1U high configuration with such power, with so much enterprise class capabilities, with all of the software load embedded in the array when you buy it without paying extra, all built in and at a base price that, depending on the config, is as much as 20% lower than its mother. That's right, the 5200 is as much as 20% less expensive than our previous version, the 5100. So it's a great solution and delivers a lot. We've also refreshed our 5015 and our 5035, in both cases, making them much faster than they were in the past. These also are very, very cost effective. In fact, the flash system 5015, all flash, we do support disk, but just a flash configuration with flash only can start as low as $8,000 street price for a small configuration from Ciber. Now that's an incredible price for an all flash array with the type of software and the enterprise functionality that IBM delivers. Now we're also expanding our hybrid cloud support. Today, we support IBM Cloud and AWS, and that can be done for your Red Hat OpenShift environments, for your IBM flash system environments, and also for any third party. Again, remember, our Spectrum virtualized software supports over 500 different arrays, and most of them, of course, are clearly not IBM logoed. We'll be offering support for Microsoft Azure in Q4 with a beta in Q3. So it's a great solution. We know that many large companies will have multiple clouds. So we will work with the 3 largest clouds by revenue with this launch coming in the second half of the year. Now, IBM's cloud division also has offered a new technology for hybrid clouds called Cloud Satellite. Cloud Satellite supports not only IBM Cloud, but it supports Google, Amazon, and Microsoft as well. It's a software as a service model. What we've done is incorporate our flash systems and Spectrum virtualized capability so that it works with Cloud Satellite. What this allows you to do is use your existing storage for your hybrid cloud on-prem. When you get these things, for example, from Amazon, you need Amazon Outpost. When you get it from Microsoft, you need the Azure Stack on-prem, adding additional system complexity on-prem and adding additional device that you have to manage. But with our support for IBM Cloud Satellite, you can have hybrid cloud technology with Microsoft, with Amazon, with Google, and IBM Cloud using your existing storage infrastructure. It's fully tested with the Cloud Satellite solution. And so whether you're going to be using IBM Cloud Hybrid, Amazon Cloud Hybrid, Microsoft Cloud Hybrid, or Google Cloud Hybrid, you can get all of that with our Flash Systems family. So he's come now to a close before I pass it back to Manny. You've clearly seen that the Flash System family is incredibly unique. With our new solution, the Flash System 5200, you've got a small but mighty product. It's made for hybrid cloud and container environments. Its compact design is great for edge use cases, for overtaxed data centers, and for hybrid cloud deployments. You can see the feature, the function, the performance, the availability of something at such an entry price. It's just incredible to believe. Our Spectrum virtualized software works not only for this solution, but across the entire Flash System portfolio and works for all non-mainframe environments with seamless capability going out to your hybrid cloud and container environments. This dramatically reduces your capital and operational expenses. The consolidation is made very easy and supports all kinds of platforms. So for, of course, many of you that are larger, you've got containers already. You're clearly running mostly virtual machines, and you may even have some bare metal applications. Well, guess what? We can support all that with one platform, with one set of software. The seamless integration with hybrid cloud and container environments makes it easier for you to deploy on-site or out into a cloud environment. We've already talked about the incredible performance of this solution, only one rack U that outperforms not only any entry solution from any vendor, but actually outperforms all of the mid-range vendors as well, except it's at an entry price. And of course, with these dramatic reductions in CapEx and OpEx, a payback as fast as 8 months. And now I'd like to pass it back to Manny to close it out. Manny, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. Very informative and great product. One of the things that I mentioned earlier in the presentation was what makes us different from other consulting companies. And this is pretty much one of the big differences that I see, is that we not only provide you the services to take care of your solutions, but also the infrastructure to run this on. Our organization for technology solutions is anchored by a very seasoned, very technical solution architect team that will help you not only size, but also configure, install, and migrate your applications to new technology. As Eric was mentioning earlier, a lot of the applications where the storage fits in the best, deployment platforms of Azure, AWS, and IBM, we support all those cloud providers as well. Application modernization, data ops, data services, we can not only provide the services for that, but also the infrastructure. AI, machine learning, automation, and containers. We can do that, not only in the services side to implement, but also in the hardware side. So it's basically one-stop shop for anyone who's interested in moving forward with Ciber as a whole solution. If you look at the top row, that is basically our top-end hardware vendors. IBM has been our oldest and biggest partner over the years. We started working with IBM in the early 80s, and we are a platinum partner with IBM and have been. And across the board, in the x86 space, we have Hewlett-Packard, we have Dell. We do not sell EMC. Unfortunately, the logo came with EMC. But Lenovo, NetApp, storage, as well as Infinidat. But if you look down the line here, we pretty much are in line to what Eric was mentioning, what the storage unit basically fits into. And we can supply not only the hardware, but also software and middleware across the board. If you look at mobility, Zebra is one of our partners, one of our biggest partners when it comes to mobility. So we can provide you everything there that you may need for your handhelds or tablets or even forklift mounted devices out there. So just to close it off, we are a true one-stop shop organization. We can help you. We can help you design. A lot of times it's what you want. It's not what you need. We help you find what you need and work with you hand in hand to make sure that everything goes through smoothly, on time, and on budget, or even under budget sometimes. So with that, let's open it up to Q&A.
Thank you, Manny and Eric. As we've come to the Q&A portion, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and type them out in the chat box to the right of the screen. Looks like we'll give a minute or two for people to get their questions in. Okay. I think we got a question in. Our first question, why did they go down to a 1U solution in your new flash system 5200?
Sure. So part of it is we were able to pack these enterprise capabilities, unmatched performance, 6 nines of availability in a compact form factor. Obviously, in today's environment of global warming and energy shortages, everyone is trying to focus on how we can make everything more energy efficient. Going to the 1U form factor does that. And obviously, as you saw with our consolidation, by taking out a bunch of old arrays, you can reduce your power footprint as well as your floor space, rack space, et cetera. So it was about delivering enterprise class data services and unmatched performance in a very cost-effective manner without sacrificing performance, functionality, or availability, and do it in a cost-effective way that help reduce the energy footprint, help reduce the physical footprint, and basically a way to cut CapEx and OpEx. That's why we went to a 1U form factor.
Wonderful. I think we have another question. Noticed you talked a lot about the entry flash system family. What did you do for your high end of the portfolio?
So what we did there was the changes that we did in the software. We had a major refresh in February of 2020 with the flash system 7200, 9200, 9200R. The changes we did this time were things like the Red Hat Ansible support, the ease of integration. You can do, of course, 3-site replication, but now it's easier to do. So what we did really in the upper end was we already stayed with the unmatched performance, the 6 nines of availability, and what we really did was focus more on the entry space this time, this go around with the flash system redo. But we already have at that at the upper space, we already have unmatched performance that no one else is close to. And we already have the type of availability and application workload and use case base. So we focused really on the entry space this time, whereas a year ago, we focused on the high-end space.
Wonderful. I think we have time for a couple more questions. Please continue to place them in the chat box. We'll get to them as soon as possible. One more question we have is, hybrid cloud has been a strong theme of IBM storage for 5 years now. Can you tell us how all IBM storage support hybrid cloud and what specifically was announced on February 9th?
So we've already had the hybrid cloud support, so we didn't really announce anything new other than the support for Red Hat Ansible. So 3-site replication obviously goes from on-prem to off-prem and basically made that easier. From an overall perspective, the entire portfolio, everything we have. So for example, on the mainframe, it's our DS family. Our DS family can seamlessly move data back and forth to hybrid clouds. And of course, anytime we move data out to a cloud or back to the cloud, it is always encrypted in flight, so you don't have any security issue. Our Spectrum Protect product can back up to clouds. We support Google, Amazon, IBM. We support AWS and Azure. And as I mentioned, we have 40 to 50 small and medium cloud providers who use our Spectrum Protect product line for their backup as a service. So not only do we do hybrid cloud, but in this case, cloud providers use us as the engine for their backup that they would sell to an end user. Clearly, if they're using it, they're basing their entire business on our engine for data protection and data resiliency, our Spectrum Protect products. When you look at our storage for AI and big data, it's based on our Spectrum Scale software. We sell it as software-defined storage, so software only, where Ciber could help you build with storage-rich servers, or our elastic storage system, where Spectrum Scale is pre-embedded in an array. Same thing with our IBM Cloud Object Storage, both software only or embedded in an array. Both of them seamlessly traverse out to a hybrid cloud. And in fact, with Spectrum Scale, you can create a single global namespace and file system that can traverse from an edge to your core data center and out to multiple hybrid clouds. Spectrum Scale, for example, is supported on the AWS, the Azure, and the IBM marketplaces, so you can seamlessly integrate with any of those. So as you can see, we've been talking hybrid cloud for years at IBM Storage, and we've been delivering that across the whole portfolio, whether it be block storage, file storage, object storage, or of course the capability of protecting all of that storage with our Spectrum Protect suite. So all of that is designed to be hybrid cloud. And we've been doing it now for many, many years because that's where the world is going, is some data on-prem and some data off-prem. And we are doing that not only for our own cloud at IBM, but for other clouds that compete with our sister division. And of course, providing technology into cloud service providers, such as our Spectrum Protect for their backup as a service offering.
Yes, that's great. So one more question. I've always been a fan of adding as much cache as the customer can afford. The 5200 has 3 cache options of 64, 256, and 512 gigabytes. What are you seeing when people order systems for the amounts of cache they are putting in existing systems?
So that really depends on budget and application workload and use case. We have customers that have a 5200 at the very entry space with light cache, and others, same customer, I should say, but they have different workloads and they've run it with the optimal cache. So basically, the way to size storage is all based on the performance you need, the availability you need. The good thing is for us, even in the entry space, we're sitting at 6 nines of availability, which is not true of many of our competitors. So you're looking at the performance of the application workload and use case, and depending on that performance, things like latency, IOPS, bandwidth, and the amount of cache. So once you've got that size, there's certain workloads that are great on a flash system because of the availability and the small compact form factor, but may not need the maximum cache. So for example, if I'm a big company and I've got things like my asset database, in this case, don't think financial assets, think physical. IBM owns hundreds of buildings all over the world. We have 400,000 employees, which means we probably have 500,000 desks and tables, let alone a couple million chairs. And while this sounds funny, all that is in a database because our tax guys know how we write that off. And any big company who's on the phone, you do the exact same thing we do. Well, there's an asset database and that has to be maintained. It doesn't need to be super high performance. It needs to be highly available. because you get taxed on things like your physical assets, and physical assets are of value to the company, but you don't need it the fastest. So that could easily go on a 5015 even, or if it was on a 5200, could be on a box that had low cache. So other applications that were like that, you'd use the small cache, which is less expensive. And when you really need the fastest thing, highly transactional workloads like high velocity trading, AI applications, credit card fraud detection, things like that, you probably want the maximum cache. So based on the performance you're looking for, that's how you'd size the cache. And of course, always budget's a factor, which is why smaller cache should go on workloads that don't need as much performance and still get a great product, but don't spend as much money.
That was a great story. So one more question before we, or at least two more questions I think we can squeeze in before we have to close out. One question was, I was pretty excited when I read that 2RU competitive all-flash array with 24 SAS SSD flash drives is equivalent to only 3 NVMe based flash core modules in a 5200. Can you elaborate?
Sure. Well, what we've always done with our flash core modules and our flash systems in general is they've always been among the fastest at every element. So the 5200 is the fastest entry array from any vendor, and in fact, outperforms most of the mid-range technology out there from our competition. And in latency, it has 30% better latency than products that cost $1 million or more from our competition at their upper end. So because of that, we were able to create a very cost-effective config with only 3 drives. We allow you to grow the drives one at a time. And if you look out there at the people in the entry space, half of the other competitors do that and the other half don't. So you need 4 drives or 3 drives, or in one case, 24 drives if you want to grow. So we want to make sure that we gave ultimate flexibility and not only performance and capacity, but how people grow. So we were able to do this. And obviously, with the big emphasis on what's going on with the power, what's going on with the environment, and especially big companies, power is expensive and it's not getting any cheaper. So if we can consolidate a number of arrays into the flash system 5200, they save a ton of money. And so by starting small with just a 3-drive config, you can grow incrementally. And obviously, given the impact of the recession, sometimes people can afford a big budget item and sometimes they can't. So you want to be able to grow incrementally to keep them under their budget control. And that was something that, by the way, that was planned. Obviously, this takes a couple of years to develop. So this was planned ever before the recession hit. We just had heard from customers, we don't always want to buy 3 or 4 or 5. Could you just make it 1? And coincidentally, then that happens to be a recession. So it happens to be a really great solution in a recessionary time frame.
Okay, great. And then one more question is, we have seen with previous generations that encryption and compression are some of the most used features that the end users want to take advantage of, but usually don't. Is there anything new in these solutions that allow end users to start deploying encryption and compression widely?
So with anything that uses our flash core modules, so that would be our 9200 at the upper end, the 7200 in the middle, and in the entry space, the 5200, the flash core modules allow you to do compression and encryption with no performance penalty. So not every application needs to be encrypted, but for all the ones that do, the chief legal officer, the chief security officer, the CFO in a smaller company, there are certain workloads that can be encrypted. The reason people did not encrypt was because there really is a performance impact. With the flash core modules on those 3 products, there is no performance impact to encrypt. So it allows you to have a secure on-prem environment where no one can steal the data, or if they do, I shouldn't say they can still steal it, but if they do steal it, it's encrypted. So if they get through your firewall and somehow abscond with the data, it's encrypted, which means they probably won't be able to use it. Okay, on the compression side, compression, same thing. When you compress and decompress data, it slows down the applications and the workloads. But with our flash core modules, there's no performance impact. Compression, and not all workloads are compressible. Things like a JPEG or an MPEG or a PNG are actually not, because those file types are compressed within the file type itself. but things like databases are compressible. There's all kinds of different workloads. Think about it, about 80% of the world's workloads right now, you could compress. When you compress, you need to buy less storage. However, with compression, just like encryption being a performance penalty, people have not compressed. But now with the FlashCore modules, the 5200 and also in our 7200, 9200, you can get encryption and compression with no performance penalty. So there's no reason not to try to squeeze out better cost efficiency using compression when your workload's compressible. And again, not all workloads are. And from an encryption perspective, it allows you to make sure your data is always safe. So that's why data encryption is a big deal. And obviously it's become just more and more important as the cyber attacks just continue to accelerate all over the world.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we might have covered a bit of this question, but I'll go ahead and ask it. But tell us about the enhancements in your FlashCore modules.
Sure. So our FlashCore modules, we've actually been shipping for several years. We take raw flash, same flash that's in your cell phone or in other devices. Even today, TVs and refrigerators have flash. So we take that bare flash and create a 2.5-inch industry standard form factor, all flash module, what we call the FlashCore module. It will fit in a standard 2.5-inch form factor. Okay, so that's an industry standard form factor that started with hard drives for those of you who've been around a long time like me, and now are adopted by flash SSDs as well. So you have the same form factor. We support the NVMe high performance protocol. We started doing that in the summer of 2018 with the FlashCore Module 1, which came out back then. And we've also integrated extensive wear leveling technology. So one of the knocks on flash is that it wears out. Okay, well, just not true. That was true 6-7 years ago. Not true for IBM 6-7 years ago, because we started with our 7-year media warranty 7 years ago, coincidentally. So you could get a 7-year media warranty, which means if it wears out, you get one for free. I mean, that's what the warranty is all about. So we've got all this wear leveling technology. We've incorporated what is known as QLC, which is better capacity flash, yet we're able to make it performant, as you know from the numbers that we've talked about. We've incorporated from a hardware perspective both encryption and compression capabilities, so there's no performance impact when you do those two things, which has been a big issue of why people don't encrypt or compress, that it does slow down their applications, not with our FlashCore modules. And then, of course, we've got our FlashCore modules available in the entry space with the 5200, in the mid-range with the 7200, and in the 9200. All of those modules are identical. Doesn't matter which of those 3 storage solutions you go into, it's the same exact FlashCore module. We have 4 different capacities, with our biggest being at 38.4 terabytes in a single module.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have time for today.
Great. Well, we appreciate the time from the end users, and of course Ciber for inviting us to speak. If there's anything you need, obviously Manny and Chris Walker and the Ciber team can give you everything that you need. And if there's anything you need from IBM, of course Manny knows how to reach out to me, and so does Chris. We can help you in any way you need. And we are here to not only provide you the high availability and the high performance storage you need, but really do it in a way that reduces your CapEx and OpEx. And with our flash system family and our Spectrum virtualized software, getting an 8-month return on your initial purchase, getting a payback is just incredible. And we can do that without sacrificing feature function. In short, you get the features of a Mercedes, except we charge you like it's a Honda. And that's what we do with IBM storage across the portfolio, but specifically today, what we do with our flash system family. Manny?
Thank you very much, Eric. Very informative, great presentation as usual. Appreciate your time. I know you're fairly busy running around all over. So we thank you for joining us today and spending this much time to talk about the new products. If anyone has any questions, we have, if you go to the next one, Eric, next slide. Oh, okay. Please contact, oh, there we go. Chris Walker is our storage lead for Ciber, and you see his email there. So if you have any questions or would like to talk about the new 5200, Chris is very versed, as well as many of our other architects in our organization, or just contact your rep. You'll be getting an email following up with this with a download of how to purchase, make a decision on Flash. So you can download that and take a look at that. That was from IBM, as well as if you want to do an assessment of your current storage infrastructure, we can do that as well. So just look out for that. And as they said, the whole presentation will be also on our website, probably starting shortly, so that you can watch it on demand and look at things that you may have missed during the presentation itself. So again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. I know everyone's busy out there trying to keep business going. So if we have anything else that pops up, we will be in touch. We'll let you know any new products and so forth. And if you have any questions, contact your rep or contact Chris, and we will be more than happy to help. Thanks.
Thank you. And please look out for an email from us that includes the webinar, or check out our website to see the webinar recording as well. And thank you, Eric and Manny, for sharing your valuable insights.
Thank you very much for hosting IBM. We appreciate the partnership with Ciber Global.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.